Welcome. It's Alex with the Happy PharmD, and tonight we're talking about remote jobs, medical information jobs. So, if you're a pharmacist and you're looking for something cool to do with your career, hey, you're in probably the right place. Hopefully, you're not at work. If you're at work, just like turn us down a little bit. And if you're here live watching from home, and you can type on your phone, I'd love to know where you're listening in to. The furthest away that I've had someone call in was Saudi Arabia. So I'm hoping for a record tonight. I feel like that's halfway across the world. Yeah, but I'd love to know where you're calling in from and what brings you here tonight. This is going to be interactive, so feel free to put in your questions as I'm talking. Tonight, we're going to be joined by Gina Corley, or famously known on Instagram as Gina on a Plane. Gina is a pharmacist, a medical information specialist, and we're going to be sharing her story of how she went from retail to medical information, as well as maybe dabble a little bit into her business, probably just because I'm curious and I would love to know more about it. A lot of people want remote work for being able to get away from the commute, maybe getting away from the public. But a lot of people I find want it to enjoy the other things in life, whether it's family, hobbies. I know for me, it was definitely a combination of both. Unfortunately, my employer didn't let me go remote until, hey, I quit and now I'm working remotely. And it has all of the benefits and cons. So, forewarning, if I have a dog barking in the background or kids screaming in, hey, I guess it's my fault, lack of preparation, but hopefully it shouldn't be happening tonight. But let me know that the audio is working if you could, just in case anything is coming in wrong. But let me know in the chat where you're calling in from. I think at this point, now's a good time to have Gina join us. Hi, Gina.
Hello. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm doing well. You know how I'm doing. I'm doing good.
I do.
And you've got the remote headset. You're looking so professional.
Thank you. I try.
You look great. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, of course. This is going to be so fun.
So, walk us back in time. You're a pharmacist in retail. We don't need to say who. I mean, you can probably guess. Actually, walk us way back. What in the world brought you into pharmacy?
Oh man. Well, I've always loved to travel, which I mean, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point. But I remember being in high school, and I really didn't know like where I wanted to end up in the world. You know, the world was a big place, and there were like so many cool places to see and things to do. And I remember when I was talking to my family about a career path, one of the things they mentioned was, you know, if you're a pharmacist, you can get a job anywhere. And I was like, done. I'll do it.
Yeah, that was true back in the day.
It was. It
Yeah.
was. And then, of course, like the more I went through it, you know, obviously, like I love helping people. I thought that it would be a great career path in order to, you know, like serve the people that I know, serve the people I don't know, use my science brain. Like, what could go wrong, right?
Sure. What could go wrong? That's a good approach to life. I like it. Sounds like a traveler's mindset. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So, long story short, I went through pharmacy school, graduated all the way back in 2013. And I really didn't know, going back to my P4 year, I really didn't know like what I wanted to do. Back then, they really pushed residencies, and the career paths were not anywhere as diverse as they are right now. Like you basically had residency with a hospital specialty, or you had retail or something like that. And everything that was like maybe like non-traditional wasn't really well known. So I ended up going into a retail job, like you said. We'll say it wasn't for me. And that was actually my first time coaching with your company way back then. So I am a 2-time Happy PharmD veteran. So my first job, or my first career coaching pathway was because I was in this retail job, and try as I might, I could not get out. Everybody wanted either hospital experience, they wanted a residency, and I didn't have either one. So it took me years, to be honest with you, to get out of that retail job and finally get into a hospital role, which thankfully I did with the help of my coach. And I was in the hospital for about 5 years. I was an inpatient pharmacy floater, and I mostly did operational type of stuff, which means like my job really wasn't clinical. I really wasn't sitting in front of the computer or doing anything like that. But instead, I was, checking IVs and physical products, working with techs, different types of things like that. And like a lot of people, the world of remote work really drew me in for multiple reasons. And I worked with a coach again because I felt like it was hard. It is hard to navigate the job market today, which I'm sure we'll get more into that. But my coach really helped me figure out like perfect fit for me. And I love the job that I have now. So
yeah, well, it is cool to hear your story, right? We initially worked with you 5 years ago. When you said that, I was like, that can't be true. But yeah, we've been around for almost 8 years. So I'm getting old. And just so that I can address it, I'm seeing some people type in the chat. I think there's a little bit of a delay, but hello, people from Texas, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, San Francisco. Holy crap. Look at all these people. I'm sure you've been to all of these states, Gina, because you're well-traveled. Yeah.
I've been to most of them. I have not been to Texas yet, though. That one is on my list.
Okay. Well, here's a good reason. Oh, and hey, I'll be living remotely for 3 months in Texas. You can come and stay with us if you'd like. We'll be in a border town. You can go to Corpus Christi, visit the island. It'll be a blast.
I think I will.
So you worked with us way back when, identified, I need to get out of retail. You looked into hospital. 5 years in, and something sparks a change, right? Something within you was like, okay, now I need remote.
Yes.
What was your approach to like looking for something remote before working with us?
So I would get on the different, big search engines. I would get on LinkedIn. I would do Indeed. I can't remember the other big one right now, but I would get on all of those, and I would search like remote or medical writing or whatever, and I would read through the job descriptions. And when I got to the end of it, I would be like, I don't know what that just said. Like, like I have no idea what I would be doing. I have no idea like what my day-to-day life would be like. I have no clue. So one of the things that I was really hoping for in a coach was somebody who would be able to kind of like break it down for me and be like, like this is a good company because of this, or this would be a good fit for you because of this, because it's very hard to interpret that based upon how a lot of companies explain their jobs nowadays.
Yeah. And by the time a job gets to a job board, by default that they didn't find someone in their network, right? So they're kind of opening up to the entire world, and that can create some chaos for them.
Yeah.
So what led you to choose medical information?
So I have a very unique job in the medical writing realm. I am an assistant editor with TRC. So I write continuing education for physicians, pharmacists, PAs, and NPs. And a lot of medical writing is regulatory. Is that the right word I'm thinking of?
Maybe.
It basically, it's like it works with like drug studies. So it's very, very more like involved clinically. You're reading a lot of like like trying to even think of the right word. It's very intense. It's very intense medical literature type of stuff. Whereas the job that I have, I am able to be more creative and conversational, and I can even do like live presentations like this one. So it's kind of like a diamond in the rough type job, and I feel so fortunate to find it because I love it. And I feel like I'm like a naturally creative person anyway. And I never thought I would ever be able to find a job that would let me be creative in pharmacy. And I did. So, yeah.
Beautiful. How'd you find out about the job?
So I found out about it because a lady that worked at the hospital that I used to work at worked for this company as well.
Hmm.
So she worked PRN at the hospital, but she worked full time at this company. And she was like, I'm getting ready to retire. So I was like, wonder, you can put a good word in for me.
Oh, a job referral. So it works.
Yes.
So for anyone here that maybe has never followed me or read anything from me, our entire system is built around this idea that job referrals have a statistically higher chance of getting you interviews and offers. So you would be way more efficient to spend your time doing that, getting referrals, versus just blindly applying to any job with a resume or even a cover letter if you're a star job seeker, which very few people actually do.
Mm-hmm.
So job referrals are the key thing to get into companies, especially when you don't have prior experience like Gina, you. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Besides making content for your side business, right, Gina on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever created any kind of medical content before this job?
No, I've never been published in anything. I've never done a research paper. I've never been
Did
a
you take
mid-year.
classes,
No,
certifications?
no, nothing.
Maybe those things aren't necessary.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm being cheeky. It's late. I get asked at least once a week from pharmacists looking for jobs. Should I should I take this class? Should I get certified? And no, the answer is, I mean, maybe if the company will pay for it, well, that's a good idea. They
Mhm.
often will in certain settings, like for compounding, they
Mhm.
may want to pay for you to get certified. But no, you don't need it. You're a pharmacist. You're super smart.
Mhm. Yeah.
Have they paid for any training for you by chance?
I mean, I've just basically had on the job type training, and
Okay.
the editors that I have trained, or the editors that have worked there for a long time, I should say, are the ones that train me, and they're all wonderful, and I've learned so much from them.
Gotcha.
Mm.
On the job training. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Well, cool. So the job referral led to the interview.
Hmm.
And now, actually, walk us back a little bit. So you have been looking for something remote.
Hmm.
When did you start working with us again, timeline wise?
Oh, so the first time would have been like 2018.
Right.
And then this most recent time, let's see, it's 2024 now. Probably the beginning of 2023,
Okay.
if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember you getting interviews, right?
Mhm,
You were getting interviews at other jobs,
mhm,
but you were looking for something really niche.
mhm.
So when did you get this position?
I started June of this year.
Okay,
Mhm.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, Remote, and I remember you just told me before we hit record that you didn't negotiate, but you did get a pretty nice salary increase,
Mm.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Care to share how much?
I get paid $12,000 per year more at this job than I did at my last job.
No experience, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And 4 weeks of vacation?
Yes, yes. They start us with 4 weeks, which is amazing.
Starting. Oh,
Yeah.
man. I remember working at the VA and we had to work. We had to work to get our vacation. We got like 4 hours, I think, every 2 weeks or something like that.
That's so hard.
Oh, yeah. And we
Yeah.
had family that lived like 7 hours away, and we would drive down there. So I had to take a day off, and I would use it as quickly as I gained it. Like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
start with 4 weeks then, yeah?
Yeah, we technically like accrue it like you do, but my company has a use it or lose it policy.
Ah,
So we have to use the full 4 weeks, which like speaking of that, like I also want to say like I truly feel like the company I work for does care so much about us as employees.
wow.
Even yeah, like
Okay.
even just the fact that they like force you to take your PTO, they're like, no, like you don't have to work constantly. Like take a break, take time, which is so nice. But um, we technically do accrue it the same way, but it's just like if you were to say like leave the company and you took more PTO than you accrued, you would have to pay it back, if that makes sense.
Yep. So well, I know that this question comes in. We're not getting too many questions from people. I would love it if you guys would ask more questions. It's not like this is pre-recorded or anything.
We are
See,
live.
I even chose that. But a question I get often is, what's a day in the life like in
Mhm,
this role?
mhm. Well, we work on an
Hold on, hold
editorial.
on, hold on.
Okay.
When do you wake up and when do you make coffee? Let's start there.
Okay. So, in my old job, I would wake up at 5. So now I wake up at 7. So I sleep in a little
Hey.
bit, but I still like to get, a pretty good head start on the day. So I wake up at 7. And then I normally will sit on my couch and have a cup of coffee and, kind of just relax, ease into my day, which is really nice. And we work on a 20-day editorial cycle. So each day is different depending on like what we have to do. So the beginning part of our cycle is mostly spent doing like the researching and writing. And once you get maybe a little less than halfway through, we send out our stuff to like specialty consultants and other people that will like look over what we wrote and basically make sure like it's correct, it sounds good, um, all of that fun stuff. And then we'll go through and we'll make edits based on the comments that these people say back to us. And once all of that is done, we'll come up with like a quiz question. We'll go through and we'll like fine tooth comb everything, make sure everything we said is right. And eventually at the end of the cycle, we submit our stuff for press and then everyone gets to read it.
So you spend all day in front of a computer researching, writing, collaborating with other people.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds fun.
Yes, it is fun. It is fun. It's fun too because I can take breaks when I want, which is nice. If I want to run out and grab lunch or grab breakfast, I can. It's you can as long as we get our things done by the deadline we're supposed to have them done. It's you can kind of flex your hours some, which is one of the biggest benefits in my opinion to remote work, just the flexibility and everything.
I'm ready for millennials to get into executive positions because I think the days of time equals money is getting close to over.
Mm-hmm.
Because for my company, not that I have an open position or like I'm looking to hire, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how long you work.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I'm going to pay you to do a job and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
If you can earn the company an extra $100,000 a year and it takes you an hour, then I'll pay you what that's worth,
Yeah.
Like I don't care
Mm,
how long.
yeah.
So that's great to hear, like the flexibility with the job, waking up. It sounds like you're an early riser. I'm
I Yeah, I've been I wasn't that way until I got my hospital job, but I feel like I get more done in my day. I'm more productive if I wake up, like at 7. So I
Okay.
try and force myself. I'm not gonna say I don't hit the snooze button sometimes, because sometimes 7 turns into 8, but I try and get up at 7.
But if you could sleep until 9, you could?
I could, as long as I didn't
Oh.
have any type of meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
sounds like a nice job. Trevor asked a really interesting question. Have you ever thought of doing medical writing as a freelancer? So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if there's a non-compete there, but
Yeah, so I actually did look into that, because when I was um, networking before I found this job, some of the medical writers that I spoke to did freelance type of work. And the biggest reason that I didn't go into that, well, there's two main reasons. One, they don't provide you with any type of like insurance or anything like that. So I would have to have some type of benefit.
mm,
The other thing is I think I would just feel too anxious, like going from like contract to contract to contract. I would.
yeah, a lot of pharmacists want security with their employer.
Hmm.
But what about is it possible for you to work as a freelancer now that you're fully employed with this company, or is that not allowed?
To be honest, I don't know that for sure. I would think as long as there's not any type of conflict of interest, I could. I will say I don't personally have time, but like in the sense of like am I able to do it? I would think as long as there's no like conflict of interest, I
Okay.
could.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like a lot about medical writing and information is that you can get started with it pretty easily as a freelancer,
Mhm.
if you have the time,
Mhm.
right? And then you have
Mhm.
the energy.
Mhm.
It's not impossible at all to make a few extra $1,000s a year just as a side business with medical writing,
Mhm.
um, which in turn could give you the experience to make your resume better for when you want to apply, if that's what you want to do full time.
Yeah.
Um,
If somebody did wanna break into the medical writing realm and they didn't have any good networking connection, I would definitely recommend doing, like, a little freelance job or something. Even something that's, like, 5 hours a week, 5 to 10 hours a week, because some of them are like that. Like, you don't have to work that much in order to, like, get your stuff done and, like, get your contract finished out.
mm.
Mhm.
So actually, walk us back a little bit to the moment that you got the offer letter, because I distinctly remember a WhatsApp message from you about the initial offer that you got from this company, because it was not at all what you wanted.
No, so they originally offered me a contract spot, and it was part-time, so it would have been 20 hours a week.
Mm,
And not to go too much into my personal life, but I'm single, I'm not married, I have to support myself, and I'm pretty high maintenance, if we're being honest. So
fair. All right, that's fair.
I would never make it. So, and I also I had the rare advantage of also liking the hospital job that I had at the time, which was the job that I had before I took this medical writing job. So it wasn't like when I was in my retail job and I would have scrubbed the bathrooms if that's what they offered me. Like I would have been like, whatever, like I'll take whatever. But in my old job at the hospital that I worked at, I felt like I had, the leverage to be like, no, like this isn't what I want. And it was a very powerful moment for me to be able to say no, because it showed me like how far I'd come in this world and this role. So I will say I did have that advantage. So I told them no, and then, I was feeling a little sad. And then they came back and they said, like, "Could you do any of it? Like, could you maybe work 5 or 10 hours a week?" And I was like "Alex."
I know. I just I just pulled up our back and forth about this. You and I felt like so much pain. Um,
Mm.
and I remember we were going back and forth about the offer,
Mhm.
and I just saw a text from you, which was, you may be able to negotiate it or just ignore it. Like, and seeing that they gave you the offer that you wanted after you played hardball with them is like, it makes me feel like you're grown up in the sense that
Mhm.
you, like, you know your value.
Yes.
And I feel like every pharmacist doesn't for it's not like they forget it. It's like the work environment really is good at indoctrinating you to believe that you're not that valuable. Right? You said it earlier, like,
Mhm.
I,
Yeah.
I would have scrubbed toilets,
I would've.
um, and we forget, like, who we are, what we're capable of, that we're
Mhm.
doctorates or
Mhm.
doctorate equivalent for BS farms. And
Mhm.
we're really smart people that can bring a lot of value to a company. I mean, we're making these companies hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. There's a reason why we get six figures.
Mhm.
Um, and to say no to an offer, even though it's something that you want, like, is very powerful. And maybe, just maybe, they liked Gina enough to be like, okay, we'll give you a full-time job. Wasn't that great?
It was so great. It was great. It was amazing.
Did you feel like you were negotiating when you were doing it?
Not really. I kind of felt like I was just letting them know, like, it wasn't an option for me, like, it was, like, full-time or
Mm,
nothing, you know? Like, I was very honest, I was like, "Look, like, I have to support myself," like I said, and that contract job would also not have came with, like, insurance or anything like that, so, like, it was just a hard no the whole way around.
mm.
Mm.
Here's the interesting question from Shruti. So she says a lot of medical information or med composition require PRC experience. Is there a way to get an experience in PRC, especially when working at entry level?
I'm so sorry, but what is PRC? Am I blanking? I'm blanking.
Um,
Shruti,
I
would you
it's on the
define
tip of my tongue, but Shruti, help us out.
help
Unless
us
there's going to
out.
be a huge delay and now we're just stalling for the video to catch up. I actually don't know. I could make up something and be like, "Yeah, it's that," but I actually don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know, MedCom is different from medical information, and a lot of times they will start you out at a much lower pay scale. That's, like, the main thing I know about MedComs. Oh, promotional review committee. I honestly do not know what that is.
It's a pharma term.
Okay. You might be better to answer this than me then.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's the okay, so let's talk about job board postings. So, in most cases, you have to take these job descriptions with a grain of salt. Um, it's kind of like talking to a young person's ideal, partner. Six pack abs, trust fund baby, works in finance, makes over six figures, right? This is the ideal person that they have for this position. It's on you, the job seeker, to convince an employer that you are a great candidate. So while some companies may be hardline to say you need a residency in order to do this job, which usually is only specialty clinical jobs,
Mhm.
in cases like this, what I would try to do is bring it down to what is the hard or soft skill that they're trying to look for. So, whatever activities are involved in that, speak to those soft and hard skills. And I mean, ultimately, don't apply through a job board only, get a job referral. Gladys says, speaking of networking, was this where you got someone to refer you? Yes.
Yeah, I knew a girl that worked PRN at my old hospital that also worked full time for TRC, and that's how I got the in with this job.
And then Mason says, how do you apply for a position? We're giving some free advertisement here.
Woo! So we are owned by a larger company called Calibri. So I would go on their website. I don't think we are hiring currently for TRC, but Calibri is an amazing company. I've only worked for them for a few months and I love them. So you could always go on their website, maybe set job alerts or follow them on LinkedIn. I know that you can set job alerts on LinkedIn if you can't do it on the website. So I would try that.
One more, I have a question to ask, but people are I'm glad to see all these questions.
Me too.
So to get a remote position as a pharmacist, we need a lot of years of hospital experience.
No. You need to be good at networking.
That's a very vulnerable question. Thank you for asking it. No. Nothing special about Gina. No, just kidding.
Thanks, Alex.
No, not at all. It's not hospital. It's not retail. It's not Amcare. It's not any one field of pharmacy. The key thing is to know your value, know the great things that you have, the skills and abilities that you can communicate to an employer, and showing them through your resume, application, your networking, and your interview why they should care about your skills. Just for clarity, because some people may be late. Gina, did you ever work in medical information?
No.
Okay.
Never. No.
So it's not about experience. In fact, you can look this up if you really want to. It's called the pie theory of success. They did this a long time ago, and they analyzed, why do some people get promotions or job offers? Why are others passed up? And they found that the reason why people succeeded in the workplace, everyone tends to focus on performance. If I just work really, really hard, then I'll get noticed. Your performance only accounts for about 10% of your career success, 10%. The other part of this is your influence and your exposure to the things that you experience in the workplace. So who knows you? I'm sorry, not influence, but the impression, how people perceive you versus what they actually, see in you and your performance. And so what this means is that job seeking is really about branding. It's about how people see you. It's about how people perceive what you can bring to the company. It's not about taking a test or getting another certification. It's about telling a company or a hiring manager what value you could bring to the table and why they should consider you a top candidate. So, you're going to say something, Gina?
Yeah, I was going to take that one step further and say, just as an example, Alex, based off of what you just said, one of the things I had to do, because I had 3 rounds of interviews in this job. And my second round, we had to do a video presentation because, part of the stuff that we have to do for this job is we have to present online. And I think eventually they're going to have us do like podcasts and things like that. So they want to make sure we are able to present. So as Alex previously said, I have a side business and a lot of it is done on Instagram, which means I am like photo editing, I'm video editing and things like that. So when I did my video, I edited it. I added text, I added cuts, I added, all these different things to make it stand out. And I never, ever, ever, ever in my wildest dreams thought I would ever have to do anything like that for a pharmacy job. But I did, and it made me stand out. So you can always like don't be afraid to play to your strengths that have nothing to do with pharmacy. You can stand out in so many different ways.
A client a long time ago told me that the only reason why he got an interview for a job is because he mentioned in his cover letter that he used to play in band. and he played like the trombone or something like that. And the hiring director was also in the marching band. So like, guess what? The quirky things that make us weird can be the things that, you know, we could bring to the value table for the interview.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take us back to the future of Gina. So you have the side business and
Mm-hmm.
now you're working remotely.
Mm-hmm.
How much time in your week do you gain back by having this remote job?
I gain so much time. Like my house has never been cleaner. My laundry's done. Like I don't even know what to do with myself. Like, and I just, whenever I had my old job, I would come home and it's like so I guess a good way to put it too is like, on every job, like you have days where you have like downtime, right? So there would be days at my hospital where, we would be slow. And I would sit there and I would think like I could be doing so much right now if I
Mm,
was home.
yeah.
So,
How long was your commute?
oh, like a minute.
Oh, nice. It was right down the street.
Yeah, like I could walk if I like had to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on a weekly basis, you're probably saving yourself what, at least an hour or two every week?
Yeah, I would say for sure.
Plus, during downtime or whenever you get the work done, you're able to build your side business.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this is the time for you to plug in to share your plug. What's your at again for Instagram?
It's at Gina on a plane with two little underscores after it. But if you just type in at Gina on a plane, it comes up.
Gina on a plane.
Mhm.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So check Gina out. Gina, what is Gina on a plane?
Oh my gosh. So I travel by myself like probably 95% of the time. It's not that I don't have friends, okay? It's not that. But not everybody has the job or the time or the resources or whatever to be able to travel as much as I do. And I've traveling is my favorite thing, and I've really tried to build my life around doing it as much as I can.
Mm,
So one of the things that I do with my travel blogs, I have a website too. It's ginaonaplane.com. And I try and I write like informative blog posts to help people plan their trips, because whenever I took my first solo trip, I planned it off of this couple's blog, and it was literally the perfect trip. Like not one thing went wrong. I did every single thing that they said, followed it to a T. And it was great. And I was like, if I could like be this for somebody else, it would be amazing. So I feel like incredibly blessed that I'm able to do pharmacy and this and just like combine my passions and
mm.
just make it work.
Pharmacists do love checklists.
We do. We do.
Okay, so I want to wrap up tonight and I want to send a special invite to everyone here if you'd like to learn more about how to get a job like this without experience. But before I do, one final question, Gina.
Mhm.
What would you say a coach does for you?
Oh man, so many good things. My coach, I would say, really just helped my mindset, because I wanted like a very specific job, and a lot of the remote jobs that I saw when I was looking, I was like, I just don't know that I would like that. So like that was really hard for me, especially because like I said, I really liked the hospital job that I was in. And I just didn't feel like it would be worth it to me, especially because I have, I'm going to say PTSD from my retail job of hating it. I know what it's like to hate my job, and I never wanted to hate my job again. So it was really hard for me to, look at all these remote jobs and be like, man, like, I just don't think I'd like that. I don't think I'd like that. I don't think I'd like that. And then, my coach was like, no, there's so many things out there that you can find. And she, would send me, things that she thought were aligned with what I like to do. And she really got to know me as a person. And just really helped me, like I said, navigate through those messy job descriptions that make zero sense. She was just great. Like, she was great all the way around.
Lovely. I like that description. Helps you out with whatever is going on.
Yeah.
Did you almost convince yourself not to apply to this job then?
No, this job I knew I was going to, because I knew it was more of like a creative type of job, and I knew that I would like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any final words before I share the invite with people?
Believe in yourselves. I always like to say the only limits you have are the ones you place on yourself. So that's like one of my favorite quotes ever. So like, don't ever think like I'm not qualified, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough. Like, you are. Just, bring the positive energy. They want to hire you for what you can bring to the workforce, but they also want to hire you for who you are as a person. So, because if they like working with you, like, that's everything.
Nice.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Gina. If you are here listening to Gina's story and you're excited, I would love for you to hang out with me. I have this class that I run every week. It's called How to Get a Job Offer in 6 Months. In it, I go over a high-level overview of what we do when we work with someone to help them get these kinds of results quickly. We kind of talked about a little bit today. We talked about networking. We talked about branding. We talked about how you position yourself as a job candidate for companies. If you're interested in joining, I think we have some open spots actually next week. I'm off the rest of this week, so I haven't been checking, but I know for a fact that next Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday's workshop have a few spots available. If you go to this link here, thehappypharmd.com/offer in 6, it's a fun workshop with me. It's not pre-recorded. It's just you and me hanging out. I'll be asking you some workshop questions and getting you thinking about how to approach this job market differently. Because guess what? On average, the people who decide not to work with us, it usually takes them a little over 21 months to find a new job. And I like to see that number go down quite a bit. On average, we help people get an offer in 3.5 months. So I think we've learned a thing or two. If you would like to hang out with me next week, spend some time learning, working on your career, and getting to know some other pharmacists as well that are on the same journey as you, I would love it if we could hang out. I think my favorite part about Gina's story was learning to not stay wherever she was at. The hospital sounded great, but in our careers, I think it's really easy to get, I don't want to call it complacent, because I hate that word. It's a really negative word. But it's very easy to fall into whatever you've been doing. It's comfortable, right? It's the pain that right? Better the devil you know. Even Gina said it herself, like, it was hard to look for something new because what she had now was so much better than the previous one. But sometimes it's nice to have someone like a coach come along and say, well, maybe this could be better. Maybe you could have a remote job, enjoying the work that you're doing and working on, your dream project, whatever it is. So if that sounds like something that you would like, I would like it too. And I'd love to hang out with you. If you go to this link, you can't click the screen. You'll have to type it in. I'm sorry. thehappypharmd.com/offer in 6. I would really enjoy getting to know you as we talk a little bit before the workshop begins. And it's a good time. I mean, people who come to this, their cancer gets cured. All problems seem to go away. That's not FDA approved, but we're working on it. Just kidding. No, we'll have a good time and we'll work on your career. No cancer stuff. Thank you all for hanging out with me on this Wednesday evening. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And until I see you in the workshop or in the next video, stay curious and take care. Have a good night.